Speaking of throwing,
Yeah.
Steve, let's take tag board full here. The Guardians announced that Tanner Bibee will be their opening day starter in 2025.
I don't know why anybody was tweeting about this yesterday.
I know. I thought it was assumed.
Who else was in the discussion?
Did you know that the Pirates did a whole pre-recorded, edited video for Paul Skeens, as if there was any surprise who was going to be the Pirates?
That's fine. I got no problem with the Guardians and the Guardians beat reporters tweeting about it. It is an announcement.
It's news,
but I don't know why anybody else would talk about it as if there was no debate with the Guardians as to who they're starting. I mean, who else could you make an argument for opening day? There is nobody.
No. So that's what we're going to push the topic forward.
Yeah.
If you guys remember, Jason last season very incorrectly.
Yes.
I mean, he's had some bad takes on the show, but he lost to Tyvis in a baseball prediction segment.
Yes.
In terms of what's his bold prediction for 2024, he said Tanner Bibee would receive Cy Young votes.
And here's the problem with that. Not only did he lose to Tyvis, I lost to Tyvis too.
Bad job out of you.
But unlike Jason, I and Tyvis actually made bold predictions.
You made a ridiculous prediction.
I did. But that's what it's supposed to be, a bold prediction. Yours wasn't bold.
A second-year pitcher catching Cy Young votes? That's pretty bold.
He'd shown so much talent the year before. That wasn't bold.
So I'm just saying Jason was wrong again. So I'll give him a chance to redeem himself. Is 2025 the year, Jason, that Tanner Bibee turns into a bona fide ace for the Cleveland Guardians?
I think, first of all, bona fide's 2 words, not one.
You know what? There was 3 different ways I looked into spelling it, and that's the one I decided on. But if you really think it's 2 words, Jason, this is your topic. There you go. Happy now.
Under the radar, we know Anthony can't spell to save his life. Under the radar, Mike's not a great speller either.
No, I just typed too fast.
Don't drag me into this.
Sorry.
But no,
Anthony's
grammar,
catching
we've talked about
strays.
this. Grammar is not our strong suit as a production.
Me neither. I'll be fair.
It's
I'm not great with grammar.
We admit our flaws. That is a flaw. Jason, the floor is yours.
I actually think the Guardians could have 2 bona fide aces by the end of the year, and that's not even counting Bieber, because I don't count him this year coming back from injury.
Nope.
But, I mean, Gavin Williams looks like he's ready to explode this year, what he should have been last year without the injury. And I think Bibee's going to continue to progress. And, I like him as a top of the rotation type of arm. I think Gavin probably still has a little bit more upside, but you can have more than one ace on a team. I know every team has one ace at the top of the rotation, only one guy. But you can have
like 5.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can have guys who are the caliber and quality of being an ace, even if there is someone else who's as good or better than them. And I think Bibee absolutely fits that mold. Last year I think he had some rough patches, and there was times where I wanted to see him get deeper into games where I thought his pitch count got a little high early on in games, and feel like he's maybe messing around or trying to get strike. Just get the guy out and be economical with your pitches, so you can get a little bit deeper into the 6th inning. But it's a little bit nitpicking. I think Tanner Bibee is really freaking good. And I think this is the year where he really sort of solidifies himself as that guy at the top of the rotation. And there's room in this rotation for Gavin Williams to establish himself as that guy too.
Dustin, you, as a casual fan, do you think of Tanner Bibee as you have other great Guardians pitchers, or you're not ready to go there yet?
I don't. But I'm casual. Like, I'm not. Yeah. I don't consider him like some of the really strong opening day guys we've had in the past.
Yep. That's fair.
Is that fair? It is fair, right?
I think it's fair. Yeah. I mean, he hasn't proven enough yet.
He hasn't gotten a Cy Young vote yet.
He's proven he's a good pitcher. He hasn't proven he's a great pitcher.
Fair.
Right. Yeah. Gavin Williams has got a chance to be good too.
He does. They both have a chance to be great. I mean, there's a possibility if, let's say, everything goes right. Last year, everything went wrong. For the Guardians, things mostly went right. But in terms of starting pitching, everything went wrong.
It could have been worse. Well, it could have been worse, but not by much.
But no, it went about as bad as it could.
Yeah.
If it goes the opposite way this year, it's not crazy that by September you could have 3 ace-level pitchers on the Guardians.
Absolutely.
It's not crazy. No. It's not that much of a stretch because Bibee's done more than Gavin Williams. I think Gavin Williams, as you said, has more upside. Ultimately, he is a little more talented, I think, than Bibee. And that's not because Bibee's not talented. It's because I think Gavin Williams is crazy talented. Yep. And then Bieber, it's just a matter of how quick does he recover from the Tommy John surgery. By September, could he be pitching like an ace? Yeah. I mean, and big if, but if Bibee, Williams, and Bieber are all pitching like an ace or close to it in September, then obviously the Guardians could be a potentially very dangerous playoff team.
When did Bieber have the surgery?
April, or was it early May last year?
April.
It was April.
It was April because we found out the day we were at the card show.
Right. Okay, so it was April. So,
So we're thinking about a year and change,
It's usually
and he
a year
has
and
a
change.
chance to be back on the field.
there's no guarantee he's even going to pitch this year. It's not a guarantee. I think he will, but
I would say conservatively, I would say August.
Yeah.
A lot of these April guys.
yeah.
It's late July, early
Tommy
August.
John like the ACL for football players, like it used to be. Like back in the day,
It was the end.
It was the end. Like when my uncles played in
Yeah.
the 70s and 80s, even in the 90s, like guys would tear their ACL, you'd be like, oh, it's a death sentence.
Right.
To your
to
your career.
Oh yeah, if you tore your elbow, or you did any kind of serious damage to your arm pre 70s, you were finished.
You were done, man.
Or you were pitching with extremely diminished stuff,
Yeah.
and you just weren't good. In those days, the bullpen was all guys who couldn't start anymore. They weren't good.
Yeah.
So, but in terms of Bieber, I can see him pitching in the minors at some point in July.
I've seen June, and I'm like, man, that seems awfully early.
Maybe in the minors by late June, I guess. But that still seems aggressive.
I mean, you got 1 year. You got 1 year with him, right?
Yeah.
If all goes well this year, he's going to opt out and he's going to sign a
Right.
big deal next year. You want him in September and October.
Right.
So just don't rush it until then. The worst thing you could have is a setback, is that it makes
Yeah.
it off or not. I don't think we'd see him before late July, but who knows? Maybe I'm
and
wrong.
I would be extreme. I mean, like you said, we got one more playoff run with him,
Yeah.
potentially.
There's no need to rush
I
it.
would be beyond conservative with his rehab.
Yeah.
Because I don't care if he makes 4 starts before. Matthew Boyd last year, Alex Cobb,
I know.
Cobb especially, barely pitched. And this guy's obviously way more talented than those guys.
I think you need him by September because you need him to knock the rust off, and you need him to
Right, but that could be
gain
4 starts,
confidence.
5 starts, you know?
Yeah, but I think by September.
Yes.
I mean, I hear what you're saying,
Yeah.
but it's not like you want to hold him until October.
No. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if he only makes 4, 5, 6 starts in the regular
That's
season,
okay.
I can live with that.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'd better that than let's get him back by the end of
Right.
of July. They don't need to be that aggressive. I
Yeah.
mean, the Guardians are, I think, a pretty good team. I think there is some variance as to how good they can be, but I'd say the same thing about the other teams in this division.
Yep.
Forget the White Sox; they're obviously horrible. The other 4 teams in this division, I don't think any of them are great, and I don't think any of them are bad. They all could be. Things go really well, they could win high 80s. Things go poorly, they could win mid 70s. I think all 4 teams are competitive and close. I expect the division to be close. I think the Guardians have a reasonable chance to win the division again. I don't expect them to win it by as much as they did last year. But I think if you stay in there, if you're in the mix and can get Bieber back for the last 6 weeks of the season, that could be the difference. You know?
It'd be a heck of a rotation to run out.
Yeah.
Games 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah.
Williams, Bibee, and Bieber in whatever order you want.
Yeah. And, it's going to be interesting in the American League because in the National League, obviously the Dodgers are an overwhelming favorite.
Yeah.
But in the American League, it's a 4-team race in the Central. I think a lot of people had the Yankees up, but with Garrett Cole out for the season, Luis Gil's going to miss half the season.
Yep.
They're an old team. I never
Stanton's
predicted them
out
to do
now.
well because they're an old team. They're starting the season with a dozen guys on the injured list. I don't like their rotation right now.
Yeah.
I think their lineup is way overrated because a lot of people are like, well, they replaced Soto with Bellinger and Goldschmidt. Okay, those guys are okay. Soto's a top 5 player. So the American League East, I think, is wide open.
Wide open. Boston could win it. Baltimore could
all
win it.
5 teams, I
Tampa
think.
could win it.
Look at Toronto's rotation.
Yeah, I know.
It could be great.
I don't love Toronto.
I don't
for
love
some
Toronto
reason.
either, but there's a path to them winning the division.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's not like and then in the West, I like the Rangers. The Astros are still decent.
Yeah.
The Mariners, if they can hit a little bit. Oakland's improved. They're not going to win a division, but they're
But
improved.
they're much better than they
They're
were
competitive. I mean, who am I forgetting in the West?
last year. Angels.
Oh, they suck. They
Forgettable.
own it. The Angels and the White Sox suck. Everybody else is competitive in the American League. The A's won't win it. There's 3 teams that have no shot at making the playoffs. The A's, the Angels, the White Sox. That's it. And even the A's, I think, will be competitive. More competitive. So there you go, Mike. But anything else on the Guardians that you want us to talk about?
No, it's mostly that. But one thing with Bibee,
Yeah.
real quick, just to bring it back to where we started.
Yeah.
He went through good stretches, bad stretches, just inconsistent. I think was the word you used to
Yeah,
describe. Like,
it
he was overall pretty good for the
They
most
asked
part,
a
but-
lot of a guy in his second year. Like, they asked him to carry a heavy load last
Yeah.
year because of all the injuries. And I think we talked about at the time, like, is it fair? No, but sorry, life isn't fair, and this is what you
No.
need to do this year. This is what we expect out of you. And
Yeah.
for the most part, I think he lived up to it.
He did. I think the step. Obviously, Gavin Williams has further to go, but the big step to me that I want to see from both of these guys this year is their ability to close out those middle innings.
Yeah.
I think we've seen them both, more Gavin Williams, but we've seen them both kind of rolling early in games, and then they'll get a fourth or fifth inning where it takes them like 30 pitches to get out of the
Yeah.
inning. They can't get that third out. Maybe they're trying. I think Williams sometimes gets enamored with the strikeouts.
I think
And
they both do.
Right? And they both do. And you got to learn. Like, the Guardians have a pretty good defense. Let a guy roll over one.
Yeah.
You don't have to be perfect. Don't try to strike everybody out. And, get some easy outs and get through 6 innings. The Guardians' bullpen got worn down. We saw it in the playoffs.
Yeah. And that was the big – I mean, we spent multiple shows last year talking about Bibee's pitch count and how he's not getting deep enough into games and needs to get a little bit deeper into games.
Yeah.
So hopefully this year that happens.
Yeah.
I think Gavin Williams is on the verge of a monster year.
Right.
I think he would have had it last year, and he got hurt at the end of spring training, and
Right.
it just took way longer for him to get
Yeah.
over than he
did.
realized. And then remember there was the stuff with his fastballs getting hit harder
Right.
than it ever
And
has.
he was maybe tipping
I think he
his-
was tipping that
Yeah.
a little bit. They cleaned that up. They figured that out. So. I think Williams could have he could be the ace by like the number
Yeah.
one by the end of the year.
Now, the rest of the rotation early in the season, I mean, Luis Ortiz did a nice job with Pittsburgh last year. They got him as part of the 3-way trade on
He's
Jimenez.
not had a great
He's been
spring.
awful in spring training. Slade Ciccone, who's a top prospect, was terrible in the majors last year. Not having a great spring. He's hurt.
Yep.
Ben Lively, I mean, he was great. Can you expect that again? Can he be a legitimate third starter?
He's going to have to
He
be
was
for
last year.
Yeah, he's going to have to be for right now.
Tristan McKenzie, the velocity's up. That's positive.
Yeah,
but he's
but-
getting smoked, and he has no command.
Yeah, and he has no options left. So that's a really tricky
So it's
decision.
a trick. By the way, did you see? I think I mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday. Carlos Carrasco is going to be the 5th starter for the Yankees to start the season. See that?
Oh, God. I mean, good for him.
Yeah, I think he's going to be.
But